A local academic is calling on the government to improve its bowel cancer screening program. Associate Professor Brian Cox of the University of Otago says lives could be saved by a single test, and he joins us to talk about it. Good evening.
Good evening.
What's the test you're advocating?
It's the insertion of a fibre optic tube in the anus and up the lower part of the large bowel, which enables someone to actually visualise and examine that part of the bowel.
Ooh, when could it be introduced in New Zealand?
Fairly quickly, because it would only be a one-off screening procedure at around the age of 60, so you'd only have to have it once, and it provides a 43% reduction in your chance of dying of bowel cancer and a 33% reduction in your future chance of getting bowel cancer.
Those are considerable numbers. How would it be better than the current screening program?
Well, the current screening program requires 2 yearly testing of the blood in the poo for nearly 15 years, and unfortunately about 5% of each time someone's tested, they've got a 5% chance of having to have a colonoscopy, and so there's a huge number of people that are then required to actually be referred to colonoscopy, which is a much bigger procedure, which is like the flexible sigmoidoscopy, but it actually examines the entire large bowel.
What statistics do you have about the test reducing the risk of bowel cancer?
There are 4 randomised controlled trials that have been, large ones that have been done elsewhere in the world, and they've been very consistent in showing that level of effect of flexible sigmoidoscopy.
Is the test expensive?
Well, it's reasonably expensive. I think it would cost probably more than $300 to have the test, and but since it's a one-off test rather than repeated several tests over 15 years, the costs aren't too different.
What does the Ministry of Health say about this?
Well, the Ministry have made a commitment to just looking at fecal occult blood testing some 5 years ago, and they have been unwilling to actually look at the newer evidence that's out there.
How many Kiwis are affected by bowel cancer each year?
About 3,200.
Which is a considerable number.
Yes, it's the second commonest form of cancer in New Zealand, and New Zealand has the highest rates in the world.
Do other countries use the test that you're advocating?
Several countries are actually introducing it into their screening programs to replace fecal occult blood testing, and in the United States many family physicians, equivalent to our general practitioners, have been providing that service within their practices for some time.
Are you expecting the government to respond to your latest publication about it?
I would hope so. It's a matter of what the evidence is, and they really need to provide the best opportunity for people to reduce their risk of bowel cancer.
What are some of the factors that can cause bowel cancer?
It's generally been thought to be associated with some aspect of diet, but a lot of studies have been very inconsistent in that regard. But more recently there's a suggestion that a high consumption of processed meat, for example, might be associated with it. But there are quite a few things that can actually reduce your risk of bowel cancer.
Associate Professor Brian Cox from the University of Otago, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.